everyone, and welcome to another episode of Taco Matta Tuesday, the show where we eat healthy, delicious tacos and have conversations about life. There is a battle of two wolves inside of each of us. One wolf is evil, representing anger, jealousy, greed, resentment, lies, inferiority, and ego. The other wolf is good, representing joy, peace, love, hope, humility, kindness, empathy, and truth. The wolf that wins is the one in which you feed. This quote completely embodies what it is that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about mindset regarding getting out of your own way, because there have been so many circumstances and so many conversations with people where they're clearly standing in their own way. And I know I've been standing my own way too in several circumstances this year. So I want to dive into that and talk about some things to help you take a step to the side and actually allow for yourself to seek out your potential. So before we do that though, let's go ahead and talk about the taco of the week. Y'all, hola, y'all. Okay, that's funny. If Dave is listening to this, you're going to laugh. We just saw a shirt while we were out in Dallas, Texas this weekend that said, hola, y'all. And I'm like, I would say something like that. So now, welcome to my new phrase. You're welcome. But in the moments that we found this shirt, we also had found this incredible burger place that was at the Dallas Farmers Market. Guys, I melted, quite literally melted when I ate this thing of just joy. It was so good. So with that being said, just out of celebration that Kayla got to have a stinking stellar lamb burger, I wanted to bring up one of my favorite lamb tacos that I have made in the past, which is my chimichurri lamb tacos. If you would like to have a juicy, mouth-watering, just totally drool-worthy, healthy, delicious taco, you need to go check out the show notes before you leave the episode today. All right, there's that. Enough about food, although I'm sure I could talk about food a lot more. Oh, I'm a dork. All right, let's move on. So, you guys, there has been a lot going on. I'll say this, a lot going on within the last week, especially for me mentally, because here I am getting ready to compete at something that I've been preparing for since early this year. And we get a heads up that rules for DECA are starting to change. But yet we've gotten no official announcement, and we are 3 weeks away from the big thing. So I just wanted to shed some light on this really quickly, because this actually perfectly feeds into what it is that I want to talk to today about getting out of our own way. Is just talk about my thoughts and how I'm feeling about the whole situation, because I do have some thoughts and I do have some feelings about it. Like I mentioned, the fact that we are a few weeks out, that today, finally, we got some sort of notice, but not from DECA itself, from a third-party fitness hybrid media company, and Dave Claxton, who is the brand new head judge for DECA. That's how it got announced to us. And when it got announced to us, you know, the rules say hip extension and knee extension, but yet the picture that's shown is nowhere near any of those. So there's more gray area than ever. So with all of this starting to go around, with this confusion of what's happening versus what's not happening, and what do we need to prepare for as athletes after we've spent the last however many months since January racing this way, with nothing being wrong, nothing being called as illegal, anything of this sort. The fact that we're doing this in this fashion a few weeks away, knowing that judging for anything hybrid racing, I'll say, and this isn't including everyone, but for most things, Hyrox, DECA, some other random stuff out there, judging has not been crisp. It is not clean. There is a long way and a lot of work to be done for these organizations. So just knowing that I pour so much of my time and my energy and my passion into this sport, and that we can't even have the courtesy of being told well in advance that this is something that they want to change, nonetheless, that they have to think about that their judging has always been a conflict area, and that for those of us that follow the rules, that work really hard on the form, I identify as one of these people. For those of us that do those things, that are seconds away, like we are seconds within separation of other athletes from taking a top spot that we so much very deserve, it is terrifying for me. Because here I am trying to completely revamp, which, by the way, I could not care less that what the rule is changing to. I know that I'm one of those people that has mastered the bend over lunge and going really fast. I have one of the fastest lunges times out there probably. But you will see it every single time. My knee is always at full extension. There's no question about it, right? So I'm sure people think that I'm upset. I'm not. Like I said, I couldn't care less. Really couldn't. It's the way that it's being done, and just knowing how bad, let's just call it for what it is, how bad the judging is, knowing that I will be doing everything in my power to respect the rule as it is, and yet there will be other people that don't, right? That will ride that line of seeing what they can get away from, and those are going to be the seconds that cost me from an outcome that I've worked so hard for. That's what honestly terrifies me. And it more honestly terrifies me from a team perspective, because I'm responsible for the lunges, for both of the team, actually all three of the teams that I'm doing. So to think that what I do and how I perform is going to ultimately dictate the outcome that we as a team have, that makes me want to I just can't sleep at night. Like, it's actually impacted me. So all of this to say, you can clearly see that I'm a little frustrated, more nervous than frustrated. And this is what I want to say about it all, is regardless of how I feel and how much I might disagree and how the whole situation is going down, the biggest gift that we get to have as athletes is constantly being served situations that are going to cause us to adapt and overcome. This is another one of those scenarios. And again, while I don't agree with the way that things are occurring, I refuse to feed the bad wolf on this one. We can choose to get lost in the negativity of it all and go back and forth about what's right or what's wrong, or I can choose to spend my time and energy finding a solution. So when it comes to the big day, I can complete my number one goal, which is just to enjoy myself and just have freaking fun, because I've worked so hard to be here. Like, I want to enjoy the fun that comes along with competing at this level. Because like I've mentioned to you guys the last couple of weeks, I just remember sitting at World Championships last year being like, I want to be with these girls. And I get to do that. And I'm not going to let one station take me away from that. So for those of you that are frustrated, upset, angry, I know I'm saying basically the same word, cinnamons of the same word, what, cinnamons? We're going to keep that. We're not editing that out. Regardless of what you're feeling, if it's not positive, I hope that you can take this view with me, that we get to choose at the end of the day whether we see the glass as half full or half empty. I'm looking this as an opportunity to just find a solution, adapt and overcome, and still go out there and kick ass. In fact, my mantra, I have two of them. I have two mantras. The first one is to chase moments of joy. The second one is see you at the bike. Because I can tell you what, whatever I'm going to do on the lunges, yes, might be slower, but what I lack will be made up on the bike. So I'll see y'all on the bike, which is where the race is really going to begin, right? So I'm choosing to have fun with it and to just not circulate in this negativity and let those people do that if they want to do that. I just refuse to let the bad wolf eat me alive. So wanted to share that and just how I'm feeling and hopefully inspire you to shift your perspective. Even though I know that it's not easy, just simmer on that. And I hope that it impacts you in that way. But now I really want to talk about, like, leading into this, how do we get out of our own way? How do we get out of the negative headspace? How do we get out of those negative thoughts of like, well, what if this happened? Or what if that happens? Or like, should I even try anyways now? Like, I want to take us through that journey of getting out of our own way by really giving you guys some helpful things that are going to make you rethink about how you're currently operating and just tips to help you move forward ultimately. And I also wanted to share the story really quick of the workout that I did today. Is I just noticed, like, when I got into the gym, you know, I wasn't like super excited about the session, because this is one of those sessions where it's like, okay, I know the work needs to be done and this is a very high quality workout and it's very intentional, but I know that it's going to hurt. And no one looks forward to the hurt. If you do, God bless you. Like, that is not me and 90% of people. But anyways, I just noticed that, like, as I was getting ready to start the workout, my heart rate was a little more elevated than normal. My stomach was starting to turn slightly. Just felt a little shaky, just felt off, right? But then, fast forward, get through the workout. The moment that it was done, I was like, I feel so good, da-da-da-da. And like, yes, was a lot of it endorphins? Probably. But the thought that came into my head was, how often do we do this to ourselves? How often do we tell ourselves stories about how bad it's going to be to therefore freak ourselves out and keep us from actually putting in the work and trusting that we can freaking do the work? Because guess what? I did it. And was it hard? Did it hurt? Yeah. But did I die? No. Was I better because of it? Yeah. Did I gain something from it? Always. Right? So like, in the moment, I just had to get out of my own way and press the freaking start button and go. So what are the things that I'm doing behind the scenes to call myself out, to see myself where I'm at, saying, hey, you're not wrong. This just isn't helpful. And I'm going to need for you to step to the side and we're going to charge forward on this because this is important, right? What are the tips that are going to ultimately help you do that? What are these things? The first thing is that you cannot continue to go after your most important endeavors alone. That is one of the most important things that I learned this year. If I was ever going to get out of my own way and meet my full potential, I had to stop pretending like I could make it happen by myself. The most beautiful relationships that I have right now in my life are ones where I'm the coach of others and where I'm being coached by someone else, and we get to go through life together and make each other better through these conversations that help us get out of our own way. I had a conversation with my coach, Kevin, the other day, and the whole thing just came to how we're just so grateful for each other, that we have this relationship and that we were able to come into each other's lives at the right time and just make incredible things happen together. And I literally told him, I said, if you only had any idea how terrified I was to reach out on Instagram, because I did not think that I was worth your time. Yet that one decision to, again, get out of my own way, get out of my head, and just jump into what it is that I know that I deserve, that is the reason why I have an amazing friend, an amazing coach, someone that pushes me to be my absolute best, that's building me into an absolute monster in so many different ways in this sport. Like, that one decision has also helped me, fast forward now, has helped me get out of my way in so many other ways, right? So if there's anything that I can tell you guys, if you really want to see yourself move forward, you probably need to remove the ego. You need to remove the stubbornness that, well, I can do it by myself, right? Or for those of you that are thinking that you're not deserving, that you're not worth people's time, like I didn't feel like I was worth Kevin's time, I hope that my story that I just told you now is going to inspire you to realize that there are people out there waiting with open arms and are begging for you to come to their door and to ask them for help. But they don't know that you need it until you're able to speak up for yourself. So if you want to get out of your own way, you've got to start doing things with others. And that in turn is going to help you really elevate and overcome situations that you could not have overcome probably by yourself. The next thing that'll help you get out of your own way is to remember that one decision can change your life. And I just said this, right? The decision to reach out to Kevin on Instagram right after World Championships ended and just being like, hey, I don't know if you would be open to coaching me remotely. I'm from Colorado. I feel gravitated towards you. Like, I don't know what it is, but I need to speak with you if you're willing to speak with me. That one decision to do that completely changed my life in so many ways. Just to even like further prove that whole point, to really drive this home. Fast forward to now, again, with this relationship that I have with him, I told him the other day that that I'm moving to Longmont and I'm going to be living with Dave, and this commute that I'm going to be making from Longmont to Thornton is going to be really rough. And so I'm going to need support in that. And I might like have to poke around at a few other opportunities up north just so that I can stay sane, right? Because me in a car is not sanity. If you know anything about my road rage, you will know there is no sanity in that. So I told him that. And guys, he helped me land an amazing opportunity out here in the northern Colorado area. And I'm going to be starting with them, right? So like, here I am, like go back a year from now. I'm thinking, how cool would it be if not only that I was kick-ass at DECA, but I also was able to train other people to be really kick-ass at DECA. Now I'm being hired as a personal trainer, as someone to help lead and build up the DECA program at a gym that is doing insane things. Like, can we talk about manifestation and calling your own shot and putting things out there that you want to attract to your life? All of this came from just one decision. Choosing to send the text, choosing to make the call, choosing to open up your web browser right now and just research the idea. These are not like going to kill you in any way, shape, or form. These are not earth-shattering steps that you're about to take, but they're steps that over time that are going to absolutely change your life, right? And that's one thing that I want to tell you, is that this decision doesn't have to be earth-shattering at first. It doesn't have to be like this life or death situation. It can quite literally be just the smallest thing. And so here is what I want you to do if you feel like this part is really resonating with you, is that this is an awesome opportunity to really clarify what's most important to you. In this season of life, what's the most important to you, and why do you absolutely have to have it? Then I want you to write all of that down once you're in your feels of like, this is the most amazing thing, and brain dump all the needle movers that are both big and small that will help get you there. And just choose to take one of those steps. Just one. Guys, confidence doesn't come from the achievement itself. It comes from merely just trying. So by taking this approach, I promise you the confidence will come, and as you just choose to take one little step, it's going to open up the chain for so much more opportunity. And then you're going to be like, oh, that wasn't that bad. Let me just take the next step. And then these little steps start to accumulate. And before you know it, you are attracting what it is that you're putting out there. So kind of a twofer there, right? You have to know what it is that you want. You have to be able to put it out there. And then you just have to start to take tiny little steps, small needle moving decisions that are going to ultimately get you there over time. The next thing that's going to help you get out of your own way is to remove perfection from the equation. I have listened to so many podcasts, conversations that I've had with my people, just so many situations going on right now about how things were not going the way that they hoped that they would go, mostly within the race setting or within a sim setting. They're just like, was feeling really good, and then all of a sudden this happened and I just blew up. I gave up, mentally gave up, and I couldn't anymore, right? And it completely made me bomb the rest of the race because they couldn't control their mental state in that moment from the one thing, the one tiny thing that didn't feel good, or the one thing that didn't go to plan. Let's take it back a few steps here. Again, why is this goal so important to you? Can we just go back there for a moment and just really get in the feels on that? When you have that why, can you tell me more about what is keeping you from obtaining it? I bet you it's your own headspace. Again, I bet you it's you that's standing in your own way. I bet you it is this idea that if things do not go to expectation or do not go as perfectly as planned, that it's never going to happen for you. And I only know that because I've been through this plenty of times. I am human myself. When is the last time that you visualized yourself winning when the odds were against you? Not just when things were perfect, but when something happened, your worst nightmare showed up. When did you visualize yourself last actually being able to overcome and adapt? If this is not something that is regularly a part of your process of preparing for something that is important to you, it needs to become a part of it. Being able to show yourself that you can do things when the situation is less than ideal, it is going to help you in so many ways. So that way, when something happens, you're not freaked out. You're just cool as a cucumber, baby. You were just taking one hit at a time, and you're just like, all right, just got to take a step to the right, take a little swerve to the left. No big deal. Nothing can faze me because you've already done the work on the front half mentally. So take this time to think about the less than ideal situations that could happen to you and see yourself, feel yourself winning regardless. 2 more things that are going to help you with getting out of your own way. The first is that you need to change your what if statements. I did a whole podcast a while back on the power of what if, and if you are finding that your what if statements are very negative, you need to go back and listen to that episode. I was watching Inside Out 2, which I am so excited that I finally got to see that movie. If you've never seen Inside Out, first of all, you need to go see this movie. I'm a psychology major, graduate, I should say. So I love everything that has to do with like mental space and just mindset and like what's going on inside people's heads. I just love it. So Inside Out, like it really hit home for me. So I'm really excited that I finally got to watch Inside Out 2. But there was this wonderful scene where the character, the emotion, anxiety, and joy were going back and forth in this imagination room. And this imagination room obviously controlled what Riley, the main character, was thinking. And anxiety was saying things like, well, what if the worst case scenario happens? Saying all these things that were negative. And joy was saying, well, what if this happened though? What if this was the best thing that could have happened to her? And I was just sitting there and I looked at Dave and I said, this is the most powerful part of the movie right here. What do your what if statements look like? And how can you replace the ones that don't serve you with better ones that do serve you? This is, again, an awesome opportunity to take mental inventory of how you're speaking to yourself. There's nothing special about this here. No rocket science, you guys. Go back and think about what some of your thoughts have been regarding the thing that's important to you. And just think about, what if, fill in the blank, what comes first? What's the first thing that you think of? And if it's anything towards the negative, okay, explore that. Ask yourself, why am I thinking of those things? What is giving me the reason to believe that this is true? Then go out there and search for the reasons why it's not true. Go back and look for the proof. Go back and look for all of the things that you've done in your book of success, in your book of wins, that shows that you can overcome, that you can adapt, that this is not true, that you are much more than this negative what if statement. And then create your what if statement that's going to serve you a hell of a lot better. This leads me to my last thing that's going to help you get out of your own way. And that is to call joy to the console. And when I say Joy, I mean quite literally called Joy, but Joy, the character from Inside Out. The best scene for me personally that like made me a little teary-eyed, especially knowing what it is I'm about to go do in a couple of weeks, is Riley was having this breakdown moment, and she was letting anxiety and fear and frustration and just pressure, unnecessary pressure that she was putting on herself really get to her, to the point where she was having an anxiety attack. And after things started to get cleared out, and this was during or very close to the scene where the anxiety and Joy were going back and forth between the what ifs, but they were all standing there in the console room. And Riley was finally able to like come back to herself, to come back to her true self. And Riley closed her eyes and just let the sun shine, quite literally shine onto her face. And with just this smile on her face, all of a sudden, Joy, the emotion, just like lit up and started to sparkle. And all the other emotions looked at her and they were like, Joy, she's calling you to the console. And so Joy walked up and did her thing, and Riley was able to go out and do what she needed to do in the way that served her, in the way that was in the most alignment and genuine to her. And it made me tear up a little bit. I know it sounds ridiculous that here I am crying on cartoon movies, but guys, like it resonated with me so much with all of this madness that's going on between the Deca rules and just life, and the transitions that I'm about to go through between like moving and changing jobs and all this exciting opportunity that's also freaking terrifying all at the same time. I just think about, again, that moment that I've been waiting for since last year, to stand at the starting line with the best of the best in the world, because I freaking worked my ass off to get there. And all I see is me at this starting line, closing my eyes with that smile on my face and just thinking about calling Joy to the console, that I get to go out there and chase moments of joy, that I get to choose happiness and excitement and just all the good in this moment over everything else that's going on in life right now. The best way to get out of your own way is to lead with gratitude, to call Joy to the console and remember why this endeavor lights your heart on fire, how you are so lucky that you get to trek this mountain ahead of you and have this opportunity to seek out the best of views that come with the most challenging of climbs. Thank you guys so much for showing up for you today, and I hope that this episode truly helped. If you had a good few giggles today with some of the crazy things that I've said, and again, you found that this was super helpful for other people that need to hear this message, don't be afraid to share this with friends and family, and of course on social media if you can. But thank you guys again so much for creating this space for us to grow and learn together, and I will see you guys next week for another episode of Taco Bata Tuesday.